Now, for full disclosure, I don't actually have any hands-on experience with this camera, but I did watch the live event, I've watched all the reviews on YouTube, and I have some thoughts on this camera that I wanted to share. I am someone who actually really values silent shooting, and you might have gathered that if you've watched my early videos on the Sony A9 series and the A1 series. So the A7R series is quite literally the opposite to those, in the sense that the readout speed on the sensor is incredibly slow. With that slow readout, it hasn't been very good for video, it hasn't been very good for silent shooting, but outside of that, for pure photography, the image quality has been fantastic. So during the announcement, when they kept talking about how this camera has been accelerated, it actually kind of piqued my interest, thinking like, well, now it's a fully stacked sensor. Is it competitive to the Sony A1? Because that's what I'm thinking when I'm hearing fully stacked. But after watching the other reviewers out there, you do see where it starts to fall short. I don't remember the specific numbers off the top of my head at the moment as I'm recording this video, so I'll put them on screen afterwards. But when I watched Gerald Undun's video, I think it was about 100 milliseconds of the A7R5's readout speed, which Sony has then said is 5.6 times faster on the Sony A7R6, which brought it down to about 17 to 15 milliseconds, I believe. But at that speed, it doesn't quite compete with the Sony A1s at around 3.8 milliseconds. All the examples I've seen on YouTube, they were talking about sports photography and how it falls short there with the fast motion, but I don't shoot sports. For me, I just need a fast enough shutter where I'm not dealing with banding issues when it comes to indoor lights and flickering. Typically speaking, those lights are generally low light anyway, so I wouldn't be shooting at a fast shutter speed, and I'd be needing to slow it down anyway. But if I can slow it down to around about 1/100th of a second to 1/150th, maybe 1/200th of a second, and not get any banding, then the camera will still be working perfectly fine for me. All the other features when it comes to this camera have just been sort of like iterative upgrades. I have not really complained about the Sony AF system for a good few years now. I've always managed to be able to work with it. I've not really missed any shots and like had major complaints with the Sony AF system. So with each generation of cameras, when they start talking about how they've improved the autofocus, I kind of just accept it for what they tell me because I just know it's going to work anyway. It can't get any worse. And if every generation is improving, I'm just going to get happier and happier with the autofocusing system. And likewise, with the addition of 16 stops of dynamic range now, I'm not sure if I'd notice the additional stop. And I am talking in real world usage here when it comes to my event work. Because I haven't had any major complaints when I'm shooting, unless I'm shooting someone backlit when they're standing by a window and I don't have a flash. The dynamic range on the Sony A9 III even serves me perfectly fine. So for all the upgrades, I will just accept as they are and kind of just be appreciative that there are some improvements. But the one other improvement which I'm unsure on how I feel at the moment is the battery. The battery states it's got a higher capacity, it can charge faster, but I don't actually recall them saying if it makes the camera last any longer. I would actually probably argue that it doesn't, and it probably just, they needed to increase the battery capacity to accommodate the performance of the actual camera itself, because it's probably a bit more power hungry given the fact that it's now 67 megapixels. But the reason why I'm unsure about this upgrade is if you've seen my other videos when I'm doing battery charge tests with the UPO tri-charge or the tilter battery charger, for instance, you'd know I'd have a lot of NP-FZ batteries. I've kind of just accumulated them over the years because I buy and sell cameras quite frequently, and then every single time I sell them, if I buy them used, I buy them as a kit. They usually come with a few extra batteries, and when I sell them without the additional batteries, and I just kind of keep them around as spares. So I always do really feel well catered when it comes to batteries, and then the idea of now having to sort of refresh the battery ecosystem in the next generations is a little bit deflating to me. But to be honest, I'm mostly shooting the Sony A9 III and the A1, and I don't really see a need to upgrade at this point. So that could be a non-issue for at least the next few years for me. But I just am aware when it comes to the A9 IV and the A1 Mark III and the Sony FX2, we're probably going to be moving into this new battery system. But just on a closing point, I do actually think this is a solid release, and I actually feel like it's one of those more pivotal releases from Sony more than anything. You could argue that the Sony A9 III with its global shutter was more of a pivotal change, but I also feel like when it comes to flagship stuff between the Sony A9 and the A1s, yeah, those are kind of like technical exercises almost to an extent. It's only when the features start trickling down a little bit more that it actually starts feeling a bit more accessible to people. And although the Sony A7R series is still quite up there in terms of a tier of a camera, it has now finally moved down to where you're getting fully stacked into the lower level. And I'll be very interested to see if the Sony FX3 Mark II or the Sony A7S IV, if those cameras will have a fully stacked sensor and be able to read out much faster, and maybe we'll finally get OpenGate. Right now, I'm just imagining a world where those cameras would actually have OpenGate at 4K 120. Maybe even 240, who knows? One can dream, and maybe that I've started dreaming about that. I might actually just bypass and just skip over the A7R6 and we'll just wait for those instead. But overall, it's a solid release. I would actually really like to get some hands-on experience with this camera. The next Sony event that I'm aware of that has the camera available to get hands-on, I'll be jumping all over on that. But until then, this is just my thoughts on the release. If you're still watching at this point of the video, much appreciated. Thank you very much. But that's it from me. Cheers for watching.